On this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast, we've got Death Boops.
And what about Adam? Let's do this.
Welcome to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. I'm Diana.
I'm Liz.
And this week we're talking Season 6, Episode 11, Appointment in Samarra.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Such a lovely, lovely word. Samarra.
Yeah.
That's your ASMR for the week. And I hate ASMR, so there you go.
Yeah, that's all you get.
That's all you get.
Oh, goodness. So made a little trip down to San Antonio this weekend and got to go run around with Liz a little bit.
Well, yeah, I took Diana to see some places, most of which that I've never been to before. We went to a new, I would say it's new to me. I don't know how new of a bar it is, but there is a goth craft cocktail bar called Near Dark. And it's adorable.
Cute. Yeah. Great cocktails.
Really cute bat decorations outside and hooks, which we learned, unfortunately, bat hooks are not functional.
For purse holders, not very, no. And then got to go to a tiki bar and had a fun, it's a really well done tiki bar, Hugman's Oasis.
Oh my God, it was so pretty. That place is so pretty, but it was also just a little crowded. Like, it wasn't too crowded, but I could have done with it like maybe like 10% less.
Yeah. Just
so you get more bar attention. I think that was a problem. Like, I didn't mind the amount of people in there, but the staff to people ratio just wasn't enough to cover it.
Well, and then tiki bars, they always take a minute because they're complex drinks, but it makes it even worse then. And then pop down over to Esquire. Is it Esquire?
It is the Esquire Tavern.
With the longest wooden bar in Texas or something.
That is what it is. It is a very long bar, and not just like by a man's standards. Like it's actually a really long bar.
Yeah,
and it's very pretty. It is a beautiful, beautiful place.
And their downstairs bar is so cool.
It's so cool. And as we all know, the Esquire is haunted, and so downstairs it's full of all these fish, and they look like they're all mounted like Billy Bass fish. So I'm just like, I know ghosts are down there at night making them do the Billy Bass song, because that is what I would do.
Yeah, that checks.
Yeah.
So, well, that's about all I've been going on. What do you? Well, and and one of Babe's kiddos is staying with us for a minute, so we got an extra person in our household, and that's always fun.
Yeah,
so,
full house.
Full house.
Nobody has an Uncle Jesse, or I don't know if you're trying to get anybody to college or anything, but beyond that, just living the dream of, working too much and having too complex of a personal life, and a podcast that I love, and, all those things that we all try and balance, but sometimes life just goes, hey, I'm going to smack you with a pugil, because a pugil is a stick they use on American gladiators. They're also what we should be giving to each other so that we can just hit people with when they're being stupid.
Yeah. As
we'll learn through this episode, I think I have some people that I want to hit with pugils. So I think the other thing is we ended up at SABG. I get terrible with acronyms, and I hate that people call it by that. So South Austin Beer Garden has music bingo on Monday nights, and they have different categories, and so if you win, you get to pick the next category, right? Ooh. So it started off with 90s bands, and then it went to the aughts, and then then it was cartoons, so it was songs about cars, like CAR tunes. Okay. Get it? Yeah, it's a pun. So I didn't mind that one, because that's a lot of songs about cars tend to fall into my genres, right? Like, I like songs about trucks and guns and, cars and, love and stuff. So I'm like, oh yeah, I know most of these. But then the last round, the person who won cartoons picked the emo board. And this was just like, I'm so glad my friend had his kid who was there, a kid of age. And so she's very young and was very much an emo kid. And so like this young emo kid was just like, oh yeah, because you had to like, so in music bingo they play the song and then you have to guess the song, like,
right,
and then identify it on the bingo card. And of course, like, you can cheat and you can Shazam, or but you know, it's also just hard to Shazam emo. Like, it was a very hard wrong, and if we didn't have a young child with us,
yeah,
I don't know what we would have done. I would just been like,
I give up.
But I did get to pull out the pictures of the emo ghost.
Nice. So with that, no, that's about it. I don't have too much going on right now. I mean, always too much, but you know, not fun stuff. So
stuff that nobody wants to hear about in a podcast because it's depressing.
It's depressing or it's boring. One of the two.
Yeah. And like I said, I think some things in my life are just going to come out naturally as we talk about this episode, because I have adopted a new theme for it. And we'll get to that as we get further in. So this was season 6, episode 11. It first aired December 10th, 2010. It was directed by Mike Roll. Now, this is the first episode that he directed this season, but he has done episodes for almost every season but the first one, right? So we've seen him in quite a number of episodes, including Folsom Prison, Bedtime Stories, On the Pit, Head of a Pin, etc. And it was written by Sarah Gamble and also given credit to Bob Singer. I'm not quite sure how his role, like if he was actually writing or just in the room, whatever. But so the people who are writing this are the showrunners, if you think about it, right? So we've got Robert Singer and Sarah Gamble writing it. So I think there's some very interesting mythology that comes out of this. And that even goes to starting with the title. Mm-hmm. So this week, for your lore segment, we're just starting like right at the top. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to talk to you about the title and just a couple of things. So the appointment in Samarra originally goes back to an Arabic folktale. And or a Babylonian, I think it's from Babylon. I couldn't figure out but as much as I try to go back to, it was really hard to research in the limited, dudes, I got a whole bunch of shit going on right now. Mm-hmm. So there was 2 different literary things for Appointment in Samarra. There was a book, a novel, and then also there was the reference within a play by William Somerset Maugham, Maugham, Maugham. I'm not sure. But he was a playwright and he wrote short stories. Like back when people really wrote short stories, like I guess people still do now, but like the ones that they made you read in class, like in literature classes, because they were really like beautifully written, like that type of literature, like actual literature. Right. So in his plays, he had a play in 1933 called Sheppey. And within that, he basically retells this story from this Arabic folklore. So I don't know where he got it from, right? And I want to find out. So if someone has done that research, because it's not like anywhere, I can't find any of the. Granted, what am I going to do? Read the Babylonian text, but I'm just kind of interested to see like how like it changed, right? When it comes into this different person. So, and there is a character who is having a discussion with Death in the play, and because Death has come for Sheppey, and it's Sheppey's story, and Death is actually a woman, which I think is an interesting thing. And there's of course like a ton of people who break this down like in college classes. Again, this is the type of thing you have to read in a college class. Mm-hmm. It's not only this story though, it's not only in this play. This is a story that gets quoted in the book that got the other author owned by John, I forget what his name is, but I don't care about him. I only cared about this one because the other one kept throwing this shit off because I kept trying to find the original of it. I had to like end up going to like the Internet Archive and like finding it like in a play format, like like when people scan in books, like that's how I finally found this stupid fucking thing.
Wild.
But I also think that I wouldn't call it an antidote, but the tale is just, I think it's I'm just going to read it to you and then you can decide how it makes you feel. Okay. So, Sheppey is there and talking to Death, and Death basically Sheppey has told Death, like, I wish I'd known, like, I wish I wasn't here so I could avoid you. Right. And Death tells him that there was a merchant in Baghdad who sent his servant to market to buy provisions, and a little while the servant came back, white and trembling, and said, Master, just now when I was in the marketplace, I was jostled by a woman in the crowd, and when I turned, I saw it was Death that jostled me. She looked at me and made a threatening gesture. Now lend me your horse, and I will ride away from the city and avoid my fate. I will go to Samarra, and there Death will not find me. The merchant lent him his horse, and the servant mounted it, and he dug his spurs in its flanks, and as fast as the horse could gallop, he went. Then the merchant went down to the marketplace, and he saw me standing in the crowd, and he came to me and said, Why did you make a threatening gesture to my servant when you saw him this morning? That was not a threatening gesture, I said. It was only a start of surprise. I was astonished to see him in Baghdad, for I had an appointment with him tonight in Samarra. Isn't that wonderful? Like, yes. I don't know, when you think about, Death and just like, hey, like how basically it goes into this whole episode that's all about natural order. And so the title, I think the title of this says a lot and sets us up for this if you know that story. But also, how did it make you feel?
Like, oh, heebie-jeebie.
But also happy, right? Like, it's just clever. It's just
very clever.
It's so clever, and I adore that. Like, and it's like it's got a punchline in it, and it's just like, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, it's good.
And also, like, Death is a woman. That's also badass. Like, and I just like see her like booping people, and like, she's running around booping. So
Death boops for everyone.
Death doth
boop for everyone.
Death boop for thee. So okay, well let's get into this episode and starting with Chinatown, which but one quick thing, this was actually shot in Vancouver, Chinatown, and this was the first time they shot there, and I think it looks awesome.
Oh, it looks lovely. So they pull up to a market. We've got Baby pulls up to a market in Chinatown. Dean hops out, and he's got an address written on a sheet of paper or a chunk of like a little slip of paper. And he walks in, and he is not stoked about this place. You can tell, but it's like it's a meat market, or it's a market, and they happen to have a butcher as well.
Yeah, it grows. It's also it's Chinatown. Like, sometime when you're like in certain areas of different Chinatowns, like, or like even just other, like, sometimes things can be gross but taste really good.
It's just not what we are culturally used to.
You're not culturally used to it. You don't know. But he's going upstairs, and we're like, oh yeah, this may be why he's super grossed out.
Yeah, because he's going to some weird, like, up a staircase through the back, and then he is greeted by Dr. Robert.
That was his name.
Dr. Robert, who has stories about how he knows who Dean is. He stitched up Daddy more times than he can count. Back when he still had his medical license, though. And he's kind of like in this frumpy white coat that's got like some possible blood stains on it. But the more important part of this, we will come back to this, circle back at Casting Couch. But Dr. Robert is being played by none other than Robert Englund. And everybody should know who that is. So,
yeah, I know. And if you don't, well, you wait till Casting Couch, and then like we'll bitch slap you. It's kind of like when I was coming home Sunday night, or Saturday night, whatever day I were in San Antonio, I did catch an Uber, and the child who drove me home did not know like a thing about like hip hop, and did not know the difference between East Coast and West Coast rap. So, but he said that was his favorite genre. So But that's what that. If you don't know who Robert Englund is, same thing to you. Okay. Anyways,
So
but the important thing is the rent's cheap, and I have a very hot assistant.
yeah, exactly. He's got Eva, his assistant, who we meet, who has really good bangs. Like
she can wear fuck Eva, man. Like she's a
Betty
witch.
bangs on point.
Yeah, no. If you have those, it's like I bet she can fold a sheet too. Fuck her. I know she's a witch, but she's just pulling off her look, and I want to hang out with Eva.
Yeah, and we aren't really sure why Dean's there, but they know why Dean's there. We don't as the viewer at this point. He's like asking like about the success rate. So apparently he's there to get something done. And Dr. Robert tells him it's about 75%, which is not a super reassuring percentage. I'm just saying. But and then he asks for his preliminaries. FYI, preliminaries
Money,
equals money. Money, please. Yeah.
I put that into that was a contribution to a corporate slide this week. That was me.
Money, please. Nice.
That actual gift. This is what I bring to corporate America, guys. But anyways, yes. Then
he's got his letter for if something goes wrong.
Yeah, he sure does. Who is it to? Who is
Benjamin.
this letter to? What the fuck, Dean? What? You've already fucked up this kid's life enough, like, and now, like, you're gonna send him like you're dying a letter. Yeah. What are you doing, giving him baby and a shotgun after you were in his life for like 6 months and like fucked with his head? Like,
it was a year. Remember, it was a full year.
I know, it was a full year. You bad. I don't know. He's still a bad stepfather. Leave that kid alone. Anyways,
but not to Sam, which is the what is pointed out,
and not to Lisa either. Only to Ben, not to Lisa.
No. So Eva with the good bangs sticks a needle in him and calls him a baby when he acts like it hurts.
Well, yeah, and so she tells him not to be a baby, and she says it in a way because she's just like shoved him on the table, like before she throws that picklin in. She's just like, and it was just like, don't be a baby. I'm like, yeah, do it.
But and so Dr. Robert starts injecting something into the IV and tells Dean that he has 3 minutes. And so we as the viewers still don't know what the fuck's happening, by the way. But Dean flatlines, which is concerning, but obviously the intention here, because if you're like, okay, what's supposed to happen? And then Ghost Dean stands over his body.
Hi, Ghost Dean.
Hi, Ghost Dean. He goes back down to the store and starts doing a chant, and who appears?
Well, the chant is Mesorum Evoco K Ni. So I have this in very small text. It looks like Titty Get It.
Titty Get It?
Teddy get, like Teddy get. But so basically that roughly translates to, I summoned the Reaper who touched me. So like this is a very specific spell. Like this is like new spell work, Dean. Like, did you take a class or something? Like,
somebody hooked him up with all this shit because he had that address written down and the spell. So somebody hooked him up with some shit.
Yeah, but I think he's like in a back alley buying shit. I don't know.
Well, Tessa appears. Ta-da! Tessa, the Reaper. And
Tessa, yes, and so Tessa, the goddess, I think is we're gonna call her for the. I'm just gonna start calling her that right
Mistress
now.
Tessa.
Mistress Tessa. No, that's what we're calling. No, she's Madame Tessa. She's not a mistress. Tessa. She is Madame Tessa.
Madame Tessa. Yeah, so she shows up and she's like, "The fuck." And Dean's just like, I need to talk to Death. And she's like, nah, that's not how this works.
Well, I mean, it's like, he's our boss. Like, you just don't call your boss. Like, depending on, like, which kind of, like, this job, I probably would call my CEO. But, like, my last job, I'm not going to pick up the phone, even though, like, he says that in, like, every CEO says that bullshit in their corporate stuff. Like, call me. My office is open. Here is my cell phone number. Just call me. We're not calling their fucking cell phone numbers. Like, what you're asking her, like, putting her in an awkward situation, Dean. Have some respect. Awkward.
Do not respect the corporate structure, sir.
Have respect for Madame Tessa.
So, but Death shows up anyways because Death apparently has a thing for Dean.
He does. He's amazing. I love Death so much.
Yeah. So Death's like, oh yeah, and Dean's trying to like, well, you got to help me because I've got your ring, and Death's like, you have hubris but no leverage because I know where the fuck the ring is, and you can't really keep it from me. I just kind of like, you have it for now.
Yeah, and but the way he says hubris, like it's so good. It's like hubris. It's like it just like resonates.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like the best
Hubris,
actor,
but no leverage.
Hubris, but no leverage. So good,
so good. So, but basically, we find out the whole point of this is that Dean has asked to be made dead so that he can make a deal with Death for Death to jailbreak Lucifer's cage to get Sam's soul and Adam out now. Now it's not just about Sam's soul. Now it's Adam too.
Now somebody remembered. Like, I feel like something got cut somewhere where like Sam and Dean are driving and they're like, oh, wait a minute. If my soul is down there, oh shit, Adam. And it was like a Home Alone moment. And so like...
well, but it's confusing because it's Michael in Adam, right? I mean,
yeah, but Sam went down in Lucifer, so I mean the same thing happened. So I don't know, like maybe he's like safe inside his vessel, but he's not out. But like, so what do they just like take Adam out of Michael and like then like just like toss it around and make them do weird things to each other, like the military?
Gross. I don't know. So Death tells Dean that he's got to pick one though, because Death doesn't pull people back. So that he's making an exception as it is. So he can only pick one. And without,
he's like immediately like Sam, like he
no hesitation.
Like whatever, like fuck that kid.
And, but then we have to go into the conversation that we've seen carry on the last couple episodes that Sam's soul might be real fucked up and it might not be a good idea to put it back in him. And Dean tries to play off like, I know it's damaged. And Death's like, try like flayed to the raw nerve, which just sounds very awful.
And basically, you know, he wants to do like if Dr. Pimple Popper just like cut a tumor off without like going inside to get things off, like Dean just like wants a barnacle scrape off like the bad part.
Yeah,
like,
he can hack the hell part off.
Can't you just do that? Like, and I'm like, you're Death, man. Can't you just do that?
And Death is not really into this. And he's like, what? But he does turn around. He's like, what? He kind of gives a little bit of a philosophical conversation about what do you think a soul is? But
I'm still not convinced after this episode what the fuck a soul is. I think I may be more confused about what a soul is after this episode.
Well, but he said that, he can't erase Sam's hell, but he can put it behind a wall. But just like sounds really concerning, like some weird brainy stuff, like to put something like a wall of like a memory. I don't know. This is bad.
I don't understand this. Like, this is bad writing. Like, I don't understand this at all. Like, what is this? Like, this makes no fucking sense. However, what does make sense?
Oh, you don't. Is like when you put walls up in your brain to not think about the things that you're supposed to process that you don't want to process. Like when you put it down in the drawer.
No, that's shoving things like deep down. That's different. So,
similar.
But the other thing I think is really great that we have to talk about is like while that is going on, like they are trying to revive him back in the doctor's office.
Dr. Robert and Eva are freaking out.
Yeah, but also that means that Jensen Ackles' shirt is like pulled up to like right here, so it's just like, and honestly, if you're watching the YouTube, I just grabbed my tits.
You did,
but so you get to see his abs, and I really just like, I mean, I don't want you to be dead, Mr. Ackles, but I'm not mad at your abs while this is happening. Good job. Good on you.
Well done, sir. Trainer. Well done. So in response, Death says, all right, well, let's do it. Let's have a bet. You have to be Death for one full day. You wear the ring for 24 hours and then I will get Sam's soul and I will put the wall up and whatever. And Dean wants to know why. Like, why are you going to do this? But he doesn't get his answer because right then is when Dr. Robert and Eva are successful in reviving him and he comes back to life.
Yeah, but the fact is, like, he had an answer, right? And he just, like, is always like, but why? And Death is saying, like, because.
Yeah.
And just like, because. And then
Yep.
No!
And they're like, he's like, I just a few more seconds. They're like, you were gone for 7 minutes, and he's only supposed to be gone for 3. So that's probably a good thing.
He may have some brain damage. Like he probably like lost the word for like soup.
Not good for you. Yeah. So I bet he feels crazy good though, because they just shot him up with adrenaline.
Yeah, that was a premise of like one of the superhero movies on. I don't know. I know it's out on Netflix now. Where like it's like the kind of like the loser kids becomes like every man becomes superheroes. It's one of those.
Oh.
But like one of the chicks like who really wants to like she just shoots herself up with adrenaline and then she's like yeah and then she's undefeatable because that's what you feel like if
right.
So yeah, you're right. He probably feels like he can do anything.
Yeah. So we have now we are now at Bobby's, and Sam and Dean are arguing because Dean's like, look, we got death's solution. It's a wall and it could last your lifetime. It's still not a cure though. And Sam's pissed. He's like, this is not your life, not your soul. And Bobby's like, just what the fuck? What the fuck is going on?
Yep. That's pretty much it. I agree with that.
And so Sam leaves because he's pissed.
He needs to digest, and also that's a storm off of I don't believe what you said when you stormed off. Like I say, I've said that stuff. Like
you're going to go digest this. That means I just disagree, and
I disagree, and I'm going to go do something bad.
Yeah, which was go dig up the ring, or where he thought the ring was in the middle of the junkyard in Bobby's property. Which it wasn't there though, because Dean had already gotten it.
Yeah. He's not going to quit you, Sammy. He's just not.
I find this very, like, I get it,
irritating.
But I also, this whole thing is fucking annoying. So, like, I get it that, like, Dean really wants to have Sam's soul back, because I know you like soulless Sam, and I get he's effective, but he's kind of fucking creepy.
But, like, this episode kind of goes to the point of, like, soulless Sam crosses the line today.
Correct.
But before this, like, this is, why you can only date emotionally unavailable guys for like 6 months. Like after that, then like they're going to do something like tie you to a tree and go after you with an axe. Like, like not just saying that because that's family history, but I mean, things like, yeah, I get you. Like, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. And like, so, but like soulless Sam, like I get, like, I kind of get, but it's also, is it Dean's decision, or does Dean need to let his brother go if he don't want his soul back? And I mean, or does he not know if he wants his soul? He can't make that decision because he doesn't have a soul,
right?
So it spirals and it's very complicated.
Well, it's like Brittany, right? Like, can she like argue for her own self with a conservatorship, right?
Right.
Like, if you don't have the capacity to know what's best for you, are you then allowed to make those decisions, right?
But if the people that are making that decision Dean might be corrupted. Dean is a conservator
for Sam, right? And we're just gotta hope that Dean's not corrupt, right? That's the faith, because you have to put that faith in, like that they're doing this for the right reasons, right. And that Sam is incapable of making decisions for himself. No, I know. Yeah, I know. It's so messy. Ugh, blah.
Anyways, so. But he's just going to he just swears, he's got the ring, and he just swears to Sam that he's not going to fuck it up. He's the compass, and Sam finally relents. That's kind of. He's not stoked. He's like, fine.
I guess. And then, like, he's just, so he's not going to quit Sam. And then we cut to where Sam and Bobby are, like, in the house.
Awkward.
And they're having it awkward. Like, nobody knows what a fucking light bulb is in Bobby's house, apparently. Like, oh my God, Bobby, turn on a goddamn light. Like, why are you in the dark?
Eyes, sir. It's not good for your eyes,
It's just
sir.
nuts. You're going to trip on something. I know you got books everywhere, and, like, there's probably, like, weapons on the floor. Anyways, so, but, Sam's just like, you're going to have to lock me in the panic room. And Bobby's like, idiot. I don't know. Like, do I have to? Idiot. Perfect Bobby impression right there. Perfect. Thank you.
Amazing. So outside, Dean puts the ring on.
And it's pretty. I want a ring that does that. It was so pretty. Did you see? It was like a little pearly, little swirls in it. It was nice. Yeah.
He just pops into the city.
Someone do that. I have a blood diamond for me. No, not a blood. That's wrong, right? No. With the opposite of blood diamond. I want the opposite of that.
It's lab created?
Lab created, but not by people who are equitably paid. I don't know. Look over there. Okay, so
Tessa's there in the city, and she as soon as he shows up, she's talking shit. She's ready. She doesn't like this. You have a track record of throwing a wrench in everything. Here are the rules for the next 24 hours. You kill everyone whose number is up. I've got a list. You touch them, they die, I reap them. Clear? Remove the ring, and you lose, and the deal's off.
Yeah, and she just has this incredible monologue of going through this. Boss bitch. And you know why? Because her job is important to Tessa. Yeah. Tessa knows she has to get shit done. And to get shit done, she has to work with this motherfucker. Yeah. Which is why she tells him, don't mess this up. No. It's not my job to be your damn babysitter. Yeah. We're going to put that on a fucking shirt. Don't mess this up. It's not my job to be your damn babysitter.
Yeah. Mantra of the week. Mantra of the week.
It is. And I know, I don't know if it's Mercury in retrograde, poison, whatever, but all you boss bitches that are feeling it this week, because I know there's a lot of you. Mm-hmm. Tell yourself. We salute you. Not your job to be anybody's goddamn babysitter.
Correct.
All right. So Sam's doing a spell too.
He's at a warehouse. He's got a new warehouse, and he's got a new spell. And what's he doing? Oh, he's summoning Balthazar.
I like his spell, though. It's got Enochian signals. There's an altar, the whatever is in his little cauldron looks real pretty. Those look like some really nice little flowers in there. It was really great.
It was quite floral. And Balthazar's like, oh, what the fuck are you summoning me for? Because I want to kill you. This seems like a really bad plan. But Sam's like, desperate times, and I need angel advice. So he wants a spell to keep a soul out forever. So he wants Balthazar to get him a spell that will prevent Death or Dean or whoever from putting his soul back in.
It's no soul forever. You'll just be stuck listening to Nickelback. And then Balthazar gives what is one of my favorite descriptions for what is happening to Sam's soul in hell. He says that Michael and Lucifer are hate banging his soul
as we speak. Yeah. So he's going to help for free, and because he likes the idea of having Sam in his debt, and it makes him happy to screw over Dean. So the only way to do this, though, to repel something for a soul from your vessel, is to scar the vessel and make it uninhabitable. One example: patricide. Got to kill your dad. Except John's dead. So what does Balthazar offer up?
How do we get around that?
The blood of the father doesn't need to be blood.
Yeah, and he says that this is very did you just get back from doing Shakespeare in the Park, Balthazar? Yeah. But you said, you need the blood of your father, but your father needn't be blood. Mm-hmm. Follow, enter my riddle 3. But and then you're like, oh shit.
God damn it.
I know it. And you see Sam
I wrote, oh shit, Bobby. It's what I wrote down. So
gross.
Not good. Not good. And a part of you at this point in the episode, you're like, well, I know he doesn't have a soul, but maybe he's logical enough to know this is bad. We'll come back to that. So we've got Tessa explaining that people have a lot of questions when they die. And Dean's responsible for answering these questions. But his suggestion of one of the first questions is, why did Betty White outlive me?
See, but you're not taking your job seriously. You're not, Dean. Tessa has a job to do. We can already tell you're not fucking listening to the process. She has worked out this process. She needs you to think about questions. What questions are people going to have? This is going to bite you in the ass if you don't listen. And let's see what happens, Dean.
So they walk into a convenience store where there is a armed gunman. That's repetitive.
There's a gas station robbery going on.
There's a guy a robber pointing a gun at the cashier and the cashier's son. And Dean is very upset because he wants to know who's going to get killed. Because the robber is threatening to shoot the kid. It's really fucked up, by the way.
Yeah. It's this whole episode. This is the first time we're like, what is happening in this episode? We're like,
it's
okay,
very dark.
So this is where we're going. All right.
And
very trolley car. There's a lot of trolley car shit happening.
Yeah. So, but we get the cashier manages to sneak a gun from one of the drawers and shoots the robber. And the robber is dying on the floor. And Tessa's like, okay, Dean, go ahead and end him. But Dean's pissed about this robber threatening the kid. So he's like, he's in agonizing pain, right? And he lets him lay there and suffer for a minute before killing him.
Yeah. And then he's going to get gloat as he gets carted off to hell. That's not good form, Dean.
No. Ghost Robber's like, why? Mostly because you're a dick. Enjoy the ride down, pal. Trust me, the sauna gets hot.
That's how Dean answers his questions, like a dick. That's not good. So we got to the next guy.
Park bench. Man eating a big old slice of pizza. That looks really good, actually.
It did look really good. And I've been eating way too much pizza. Oh, you know what I did last week? I ordered Domino's, but I changed the sauce from tomato to garlic parmesan. Oh, it was so good. It's basically like having like a ranch pizza. Or like an pizza Alfredo. Yeah. I don't know. But it was not the Alfredo one. That seems too much. Anyways, so
Dean boops him dead, and the man asks why. Again.
I thought it was more of a rub down. I think it's more of a death rub down.
It's a death touch. It's not a boop. It's a
womp,
hand.
Womp.
And Dean's response to why is, "Do you think it was the extra cheese?" And the man agrees. Like, yeah, it was good though. Yeah. But Dean wants to know where he got it because he's thinking local place. But then the man does come around and wants to know what it all means. And Dean, once again, does not have a prepared response. Everything is dust in the wind. And this dude is pissed, and I don't blame him. He's like, that's it? A Kansas song? I'm like, I'd be so mad.
It'd be like if you came back and it was just like what's the Korean K-pop band? That's also redundant. What's the K-pop band? BTS?
Yeah.
Just like a BTS song there, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, I don't even get a Kansas song, but
right? So we've got Sam at Bobby's.
Where it's still so dark.
It's very dark. And Bobby pours him a drink after Sam makes an excuse that he was just driving around. And so Bobby pours them both a beverage. So we know that there's something going on here. And then there's something going on at the hospital. And I was like, God damn it, when this scene started. So we've got a sick little girl in the hospital bed. And I just literally wrote, oh, fuck. Because I was like, oh, this is going to be upsetting. And it is. This is upsetting. Here we go.
But is it? See, and this is where I start getting mad. And maybe it is because I'm jaded because I have seen it before, right? So you look at this and you can read the situation. You could read the room. You know what's going to happen. Like, you know. Yeah. You knew Dean was going to be
course.
Like, yeah, so, like, they're going after this kid.
I'll say, like, this is the start of a very upsetting overall arc. How about that? This whole thing. Is it not that I'm not saying it's bad or whatever. I'm just saying it's upsetting.
It is. No, it is upsetting. It is upsetting for a number of reasons. It's upsetting because this bitch is going to be fucking up Tessa's work. Because he's being a little bitch, right? This is your goddamn job, Dean. She told you what your job was, and you're going to fuck it up for her. You're going to fuck up her day, and then you're going to fuck up everyone else's day because you're not listening to Madame Tessa. She knows what she's talking about.
There's a little girl. Her dad is sitting there. Ends up, mom's dead too. It's just dad and this little girl, and she has a serious heart condition. Dad has no other family. And Dean's stalling, talking about how he spent his whole life fighting destiny. I'm death, so she lives. And Tessa's like, no, every time you mess with life and death, it does not turn out to be fucking great. Remember, brah. And Dean puts his foot down.
Stop fucking with the natural order, man. You're fucking with the natural order. That kid also has been sick for a while. I guarantee you that dad has been like waiting for this day, right? He's been prepping. Get it over with, man. Rip the Band-Aid. Do your goddamn job. Like,
we get a quick glimpse here of Sam and Bobby playing poker. And then but Sam's eyeballing a giant wrench behind Bobby as well, which is questionable.
Also, but I'm like, one, does not having a soul make you a better poker player? Because I would say no, because you could see you eyeing the weapon. And so Bobby can see you eyeing the weapon. So clearly, no. But it should. Yeah.
And we come back to the hospital real quick, and this doctor is now telling the dad that he can't explain it, but little girl's heart just healed itself. It was a miracle.
What?
Which makes no sense to any of this, because that didn't happen. This is where we have a problem.
Yeah, and not where that.
This is a major plot hole.
One of the 99 problems, and this plot hole is one of them.
Yeah.
And so apparently, no, she's fine now.
So they canceled her surgery, and the nurses are leaving, and the doctor's leaving.
I feel like you could have done your little Rube Goldberg or whatever the fuck you call that thing. Like, you could have done this better. I don't think it's well done. I get what you're trying to do, but it just could have been done better.
Yes. So back at Bobby's going to go grab...
The other thing that we notice at that point is the nurse that passes through Tessa. Like, one, she actually just walks right through a Reaper, which is kind of a weird thing, but also her name is Jolene.
Oh, yeah. Nice Jolene.
Jolene.
So Bobby's grabbing them some more beers, and while he's got his head in the fridge, Sam tries to bludgeon him. But Bobby knew this was coming, and he had a baton ready in the fridge, I guess, and fights back, knocks Sam out, and goes to get rope.
But now I'm like, do I need to keep a weapon in my fridge?
Right? Pretty smart.
I mean, I barely have enough room in there for like my condiments. Like, where the fuck am I going to fit a baton?
I just think, like, if you're getting...
Maybe
I feel like that's only if you're getting attacked by someone you know.
I would say, like, a corksicle in the freezer, like, offer to get someone to drink.
I mean,
and
you
then
could
you
just
can
hit
get
someone
ice
with a steak at that point. You could just hit him with the fucking steak.
I like my steak, but a corksicle would be a nice weapon.
So we have a fight, and then Sam disappears when Bobby goes to tie him up. So Bobby gets his shotgun and locks himself in the closet, which seems unwise because he's giving him, kind of boxing himself into a corner. And Sam goes bonkers. He's like hacking the closet door with an axe and telling Bobby that he cornered himself. But Bobby didn't.
He was condescending. He was just like, you shouldn't have boxed yourself in.
Mm-hmm. But Bobby's in the closet on purpose because he's got a trap door.
Of course he does, you idiot. And so you go, Moose. Yeah. And so, like, this was something that they had to, like, redo in the set, right? Because they didn't have a trap door there before. So they had to put a trap door in front of the closet and in front of the downstairs he's going in, and make it look like they'd always kind of been there.
Yeah.
For, like, nerds who are, like, watching it, right? And so, but I just love, like, of course that's why Bobby's in a closet. I love you, Bobby.
Yeah.
And then, like, I love Bobby even more because he starts, like, just talking dirty to Sam while he's in there. Because Sam's got a crowbar, but Bobby's like, I've got reinforced steel core and a titanium kick plate. So get comfy. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. And he also wants Sam to explain what the fuck is going on. And Sam starts to, but he's basically says, like, hey, I just can't let Dean shove that soul back in me. It's not that I don't want to kill you. You've been good to me. And, but he won't really give any info.
No, he says something though that's very specific here that also gets my craw on the soul thing. Yeah, what gets my craw? So he says that basically he's talking like there's two Sams.
Oh
because he says like Dean's like will kill him to get the other guy out of hell.
He says he doesn't care about me, just about Sammy in hell. So he's going to kill me to get the other guy back.
So it's like he almost has like now now we almost have like this is a different. So is it a different person altogether, or because he says he has Saban's memory? So, but is he just like a replicant or something?
I don't know. That's terrifying. I don't like it.
I don't know. But Sam goes quiet, and so Bobby's pissed and has to go figure this shit out. And he says, so he finally realized that Sam's not at the door talking to him anymore. And I like, Bobby's got two quotes here. Ain't nobody killing me in my own house but me. Dark, Bobby, dark.
Yeah. And
because it took me a while when I was thinking about it. I was like, is this a reference back to something else? And it's not. So this is just Bobby saying, I'm going to kill myself in this house one day. And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. And as he starts to go look he's slowly going downstairs to find Sam downstairs. He's somewhere, you gotta be somewhere down there, right? He says, I don't want to blow your legs out. I don't want to blow your legs out, boy, but I will. So he's ready to shoot Sam in the legs with the
But
shotgun.
also, like, you put it in a titanium kick plate, but not a lighting system. Like, what the fuck? Just turn the goddamn lights on. Like, you're just, like, wandering through the dark, waiting to get for a... Oh, God. And then he goes to, like, the jail peephole, and I still don't know what those are called.
Yeah, me either. I know we talk about this a lot.
We talk about this, I think, like, every week. What the fuck is that jail peephole called?
And so the bunker, the door's closed, but he opens the peephole and there's a ladder going up to the grate, and the grate is open up in the ceiling. So Sam somehow has climbed out through the ceiling of the bunker, which doesn't seem very bunkery to be able to do that.
No, I feel like that was a fail. But I mean, also, I guess it's not quite the bunker. Like, it's more of like the basement, right? Because
I think was in the bunker where that happened.
The bunker is in the basement, so like the basement's not necessarily the bunker, right?
Right.
Like,
but I thought
so you could be in the
escape,
basement.
I thought he went into. I thought his escape route was through the bunker. That's why I thought it was weird.
Okay,
whatever.
Sure. Yeah, no, that is weird. Or maybe like he just knew like sometimes Bobby would just like forget to close it. Like,
left the bunker open.
Did you remember to close the bunker tonight? Like, he was like, maybe I got lucky. I'm like, oh, thankfully Bobby forgot to close up the bunker again. Bobby.
My gosh. All right. So we're back at the hospital with Tessa and Dean. She's pissed. But as they're standing there, a person gets rolled in on a stretcher from a car wreck. Oh, fuck, it's Jolene.
Who is it?
Jolene.
Who is it?
Jolene. Jolene. And this is it's the same nurse that walked through Tessa that got cut early because they didn't have to do the surgery. And now she needs a heart surgeon who's also left. And Dean's like, what the fuck? And he's like mad at Tessa because he's like, oh, you knew this was going to happen. And she's like, nah, I just knew that you had knocked over some kind of a domino. So you've got to take her because everything has consequences and it is what it is. And they're like all these nurses that know this nurse are like trying to save her. It's very upsetting.
It's very upsetting. Like she's like, this is like, must be Gray's, like Mercy Gray Hospital. Like, you know, it's just one of their own is dying again. But also like Dean, like Madame Tessa is mad because again, you fucking up her shit. Yeah. Look at what you did here. All right. You put on this ring so you do your goddamn job, Dean. And Dean's just like, I'm sorry. And he walks away. No, you fucking do your job, asshole.
Well, then he touches her hand and she flatlines. But I'm mad at Tessa. I think this was inappropriate and not helpful.
No, Tessa escalated. She was mad, but sometimes you're mad and you just say shit because, like, you can't cry right then and you can't go to your car. So you're gonna burst out. And Madame Tessa had a moment.
But Tessa tells Jolene that she was supposed to live for decades and have kids and grandkids. That's so fucked up.
You shouldn't have told her that right now, Tessa. No. I think she was... I know she said it because she wanted Dean to hear it, right? And she's doing this to punish Dean. And this also sometimes...
fucked.
It is fucked. So you have to remember that if you're going to punish the asshole that's fucking up your job as you're a boss bitch, remember that the people, like other people, like your customers, other people, they can get hurt, right? So you got to keep that in mind.
Noted. So Dean does apologize to her, and then she's gone because Tessa takes her away. But while Dean,
I'm like, ugh.
Well, then this man comes in looking for his wife. So
it's the ambulance driver, and then it was like, I think they said like she got in the wreck with the ambulance, so I think like they wrecked each other. Like, I don't know.
I didn't think he was an ambulance driver. I missed that. I don't know. That's not what I saw.
But he was an ambulance driver. I think he's got like a paramedic thing on.
I thought it was like a car. I thought it was just a red jacket.
I don't know.
Car service.
Okay,
I don't know. Either way, I could be wrong. It doesn't matter. Dude comes in. And this is Jolene's husband, and he is very upset.
And he's just running through Jolene.
And so now this is like, I was like, this is where I was like, holy fuck, this is upsetting. Because he's like over her body. It's just very upsetting. And Dean's trying really hard not to cry because it is upsetting.
But she says something like, I know it's upsetting. And maybe it's just because I deal with, dark situations with humor, and that's how I deflect. But when she says to Dean about the little girl, "You saw what happened to that nurse. Go and kill that girl, Dean." It's just really funny because it's just like, it may have been her delivery, but like,
No. And so she's saying, she's like, look, I tried to tell you what you already know. Disrupting the natural order. This girl's disrupting the natural order just by being alive. And she's going to be, chaos and sadness is going to follow her wherever she goes if you don't just kill her.
Did I just
Chaos
the
and
natural
sadness.
order? What did I do? I'm sorry. Did I raise the dead again? I'm sorry. So we're going back to Bobby's. Oh.
Well, hold on. But Dean is, while he's getting this lecture, Dean sees out the window that the widower of the nurse is stumbling out of a bar and has a bottle in his hand and getting behind the wheel of a car and asks Tessa to give him a minute.
Yeah, that bar is definitely liable for that. Look, I mean, a lot of times I say things are on you, but he got that bottle in that bar. That on you.
That's usually not legal.
No, it wasn't. Like, they shouldn't have done that. Like, you shouldn't have sold him that. Anyways, but this is Dean's fault, not the bar's fault.
So Bobby is searching the car lot for Sam, finds some blood residue, and flings open the doors to the barn, flings the barn doors open, thinking that Sam's going to be inside, but he's not. Sam's behind him and hits him in the barn.
Well, I think it's also like, it's like remember when I had Earlene in the backyard and I kept like, I had to open boxes to see if she was in there.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he's flinging it. I think he's like opening it and stepping it back really fast just to be like, oh my God, like, I hope you're not in there. But Sam knew this.
As a reminder, Earlene was the snake.
Earlene was my backyard
for a minute.
She lives
a large snake.
She still lives there somewhere, I'm sure. So,
but
anyways, come to my house.
Sam knocks Bobby the fuck out and drags him into the.
I hate it when Bobby gets hurt.
Yeah, I don't like it. So back in town, our widower is very drunk, very emotionally distressed, and driving very fast through town.
Mm-hmm.
This is all bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not excusing his pain, but his pain does not excuse his behavior.
No, it's not. I find a lot of pain in not driving around drinking off a fifth, like while I drive at a bus. So, like, so Dean, there's a limit. So Dean's you're going with him. Too far, but still Dean's fault.
Dean's in the car with him, and of course, like, the radio's on and the news starts telling the story about his wife's death. I'm like, well, that's some really fast local news.
Yeah, that but local radio was on their shit.
Damn. But they're about to hit this bus, like you said.
He had to have time to
get loaded and then buy that bottle.
Yeah. I mean, there has to be some time here. Like, that was like,
it's a lot. I was like, this is too fast. So Dean is trying to like figure out how to stop him from wrecking into the bus, which could hurt a lot of innocent people and him. But you can't see death unless you're dead. So Dean decides to take the ring off. That means his deal's off.
So
and also, all of a sudden, you're driving drunk.
You're just driving, and then Jensen Ackles like pops up next to you. What the fuck?
And he's drunk, so you're even more surprised, obviously.
I'm just like, how much did I drink? Like, holy shit, I shouldn't have a license. So like, he helps him crash his car into like
a parked car,
parked car that's in front of the supper club, and the supper club looks awesome, and I kind of want to go to the supper club.
Agreed. And so our widower's unconscious, and Dean's upset because he's ended this deal. So he gets out of the car and he's calling out to Tessa, announcing that he's lost, Sam's screwed, just send me home. But nothing happens. So he puts the ring back on, and when he puts it on, the widower just regained enough consciousness to watch him disappear, which is kind of funny.
So this guy, if he survives this, if he lives, was going to be telling his tale to the police officers and saying, the man popped up in my car, then he disappeared. Then he appeared outside of the car, then he disappeared again. why don't you believe me? And then they go, your blood alcohol content is a 0.15.
Yeah.
And then he's like, but, and they're like, you should be dead. But
Yes.
anyhow.
You're going to jail. So Tessa does appear though, and Dean's very upset that he's fucked his deal up and disrupt the whole situation. And Tessa's like, yeah, no, we're done. I don't know what the fuck you want. He's like, but Dean wants to go back to the hospital for his unfinished business.
You done fucked up my day, Dean. You fucked up my job. Like, what? I've got to clean up your goddamn mess, Dean.
And she's like, yeah. She's like, you wanted the girl to skate by. And Dean's like, no one really skates by. So they're back in the room, and Dean goes and whispers to the sleeping dad to say his goodbyes. And the dad kind of stirs because he had been, dozed off. And our little girl flatlines. Aw. Natural order or not, but still sad. Anyways,
I guess kind of sad. I just also wasn't emotionally attached to this child. She was just a boring child, and so like Dean's just also just bitter now. Now he's
boring.
Just bitter. Dean,
hold on, you just called this boring.
They did nothing to endear the child to me. I'm sorry, she was just a boring child.
It's just funny. I don't care. She's a boring kid.
Although, I mean, like, she gets a good line, so.
Yeah. So she wants to know, like, she's like, I'm dead? What about my dad? I can't just leave him. It's not fair. Why me? And Dean tries to explain the natural order of things. And then she says the natural order is stupid.
And I agree. That should also be in a shirt. Now, the natural order is stupid, but it is the natural order. But also, like, what's not fair, like, little girl, you were correct. What's not fair is that you got healed and you thought everything was going to be fine, and then you got the rug pulled out from under you.
Right?
That is not fair.
She had a miracle of healing like 2 hours ago, and and then now she dead? Like the emotional roller coaster that everybody's been put on here. And now what the fuck did she die from?
She had a heart condition.
But no, she was magically healed.
I don't know. Valve, I don't know. Science.
I don't know. It's still stupid. Anyways.
No, and so, but now, yeah, like, Dean, like, I think he's learned his lesson here too, but I don't feel like he has enough, like, I felt like he was feeling sorry for the dad now at this point for the wrong reasons. Like the fact he was sorry that the girl was dead, but not that like you just did this awful thing to him.
Put him on, sent him on this emotional
really bad
roller coaster.
Thing. Yeah, that's not cool. That's not a cool thing to do to somebody. Just so you know.
So we cut back to the barn on Bobby's land, and Bobby and Sam are talking, and Bobby's trying to tell Sam that you don't want to do this. And Sam's got him all tied up and is like eyeballing this knife all dramatically. And Bobby's trying to make his case, but it's actually backfiring, I guess. Because he's like, I've been like a father to you, son of a bitch. That's exactly what everybody knows, and that's why this is happening. And Sam tells him that. And right when Sam's about to stab him, Dean's there, yay! And he grabs Sam's arm and punches him. Like you do.
Yep. Dean to save the day.
Yeah. So now we've got Sam unconscious, handcuffed to a bed in the bunker, with Dean peeping in, talking to Bobby.
Yeah, he needs to get some sleep, you little psychopath. So
they had some long eye contact with Sam and Dean. They have some serious eye contact. All right. Dean goes upstairs though, and guess who's there?
It's Death! Yay! Death came by,
and he's got bacon dogs. Even better.
But Death, I love Death. He brought you bacon dogs, man. Like he thought of you. He knew that you would want a bacon dog. He wants to be your friend.
He does. He went to a stand in LA and brought Dean one. And Dean tries to talk.
Like this is Death's DoorDash.
Death Dash. And Dean tries to be snarky about Death's taste in food. And Death throws it right back at him. I'm like, good.
What are you doing, Dean? What are you doing?
It's like, when is Dean getting pretentious about food for? What the fuck?
What are you, Austin? Why are you being pretentious? Like, what
He's
stick
just
is
being
up your
bratty.
ass?
It's
Like,
very
Death
weird.
has done nothing but like be really nice to you.
I'm just saying, this whole soul situation has made Dean real cranky.
Yeah, I would think he just also has just been really mean to Death, and I think for no reason. Like,
Yeah,
I
Death's
just don't
been pretty
get it.
chill to him, honestly.
Yeah, no, I don't understand your attitude, Dean.
Like, I know that he doesn't like the idea of Death, but like, Death's been really fucking cool to him.
Death's part of the natural order. Death just is.
Yes. So Death was like, yeah, I just want to have a treat before I put the ring back on, and we're gonna get kind of like, it's kind of a dialogue, but it's also it's mostly like, this is a Death monologue with some Dean interjections. That's pretty much what's happening here.
Good. It's so good. I love so the good. Ring is. I love the metaphor of the ring is heavier than it looks. I think that's beautiful.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, but it's like, look, Dean knows that he failed. I sucked at being Death. I screwed up the natural order. And then Death asks him, he's like, if you could go back, would you just kill the little girl? He's like, knowing what I know now, yeah. But Death's surprised that's Dean's response. And I kind of was too. But we get Death discussing about how hard it is to look behind the curtain, and that, the natural order is not fun. Or, when you fuck up natural order, it's not fun when you have to clean up the mess afterwards. So
yes. So the moral of the story is, if you don't do your damn job, other people have to clean up your fucking messes.
Yes, ma'am.
So yes, Madame Tessa, but also, I mean, I love this. Like, I think it's great. But then,
the human soul is not a rubber ball. It is vulnerable. I can't read my handwriting. Impermanent, but stronger than you know, and more valuable than you can imagine. So, anyway, so he's basically trying to talk about the importance of the soul, and he thinks that Death rigged the bet. That Dean is upset. He's like, he's not even really. I don't think he's even really hearing what Death's saying. He's like, you rigged this. You knew I was gonna luse. And
he was like, what is the fuck? I'm offended. Why did you sit me through this? And then Death's like, why, maybe don't be such a bitch to me.
Yeah, because I got your brother's soul right here, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, like, unless this guy's been nothing but chill. He bought you a fucking bacon dog, motherfucker.
And your brother's soul. He bought you a bacon dog and a soul. Mm-hmm. And let you wear his really cool ring.
It was good. He got to wear his cool ring. Yeah, I don't know. And also,
he got to kick it with Tessa.
Yeah, I don't know, D, man. You need to, pull that stick out of your ass and get it together.
It's all fucked. So, anyways, Dean's like, why would you do this? And Death's like, yeah, it's not really for you. Y'all just keep coming back, and you're an affront to the balance of the universe. But you have your uses, and you're digging for something right now, and I want you to keep digging. You'll understand when you need to.
But it's about...
So this is...
Yeah, but it's about the souls. He does say that. He says it's about the souls. So there's something about souls. He wants Dean to keep digging, Dean. We know that's what you're really good at, is digging. Yeah. But typically you're just better at digging graves. But,
We're digging him up.
Why are you talking? Yeah. Why are you, again, just be nice to him, man.
He's so mean. And I like Death.
I really do. I enjoy him. Yeah. Not just because he was nice to Peggy.
Car.
Yep.
And so, but Dean really wants to double check now. He's like, so is this wall thing gonna work? And Death says 75% chance. I just think it's funny because that's the same.
I love that callback. Yeah,
callback. Yeah. And then he puts his ring on and leaves. He's gone.
Yeah, he got his ring back.
So
Dean's just revving to Bobby, and he's like, open the door. And Bobby's like, what the fuck is happening?
And Death's in there with Sam. But Death ain't there to kill him.
Soul.
He's got the really cool old-timey medical bag. Old-timey leather medical bag. It's very neat looking. It's a leather satchel, possibly?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he's talking to Sam about it. There's a bright light coming from it. He's going to put a barrier inside the mind. It might feel a little itchy, but don't scratch the wall because you're not going to like what happens. Well, that's concerning.
What? Yep. And then he picks up what we assume is Sam's soul. This is this glowy bunch of light. And I have like a stress ball that looks kind of like the same consistency of this. So I'm like, is the soul just like a stress ball?
He says it's not a rubber ball earlier, though.
But a stress ball isn't a rubber ball. It's made of something else. I don't know. Anyway, so he's got this, and it's all like lights coming out of everywhere. And
casting couch. It's the casting couch. Were they on that show that time with that guy?
He's crying.
La 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 la.
Yeah, it does sound very painful. I think it's good. We don't know what happened. We don't know.
Don't know.
Oh,
but
before we dissect that, that's it. So let's go to let's do some casting couch.
All right. So I teased, of course, one of our characters or actors from at the beginning. So Dr. Robert is played by the one, the only Robert Englund, best known as the Freddy Krueger. That goes back from 1984 through 2003, reviving this character and all the movies over that time frame, including, here's my one little tie-in, 1991, Freddy's Dead. Tracy, who kills Freddy in this movie, blonde female, was played by Leslie Dean. Not only was she also in a pop band later on called Femme to Femme, she also played roller derby with me in Dallas. And we're still like loose buddies, but yeah.
Diana said she was one step away from Freddy Krueger, and she couldn't wait to tell me.
It's my degree of separation. There you go. And she's still, I think her band's still around. Scary Cherry and the Bang Bangs. Shout out to the singer. Hey, Leslie. And then other things that Robert Englund, while that's what he's known best for, and that's obviously been a massive element of his career, he's also been in a shit ton of stuff. His career goes back to 1974. Tons of TV and movies. A lot of the movies in recent years have been, I say recent, in the last 20 years, tend to veer a little bit more to the horror and or B side. But, you know, he's made cameos in everything from like Stranger Things. As a recent one, he was one of the regular characters in the 80s series of V, which they remade in recent years. He's in movies that he may have seen him in. He's a professor in Urban Legends. He was in a couple of funny sounding movies. One I've seen, one I haven't. Strippers versus Werewolves. He was Tapper. And in Zombie Strippers, he was Ian. So there's a couple of fun movies to look up that just good campy stuff. But yes, very well known and respected actor with roles in so many TV shows and movies. Any other Robert Englund you want to share before I move on?
No, well, I will say there is, we'll post it. There's a really fun soundbite of them interviewing Robert Englund about his guest spot on the show. And he does say that, you know, his wife was a huge Jared Padalecki fan. So there's also the fun with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So much. We got so much Robert Englund trivia tonight. I love it. All right. Next up is Jolene, our nurse, is played by Allison Araya. She's been on a ton of TV and quite a selection of both Hallmark and Lifetime Christmas movies, I will add. But she's an ongoing character as an officer on Arrow, ongoing character as Aunt Victoria on Julie and the Phantoms. She's Amber on The Peacemaker currently, and Ms. Weiss in Riverdale. We also have Eva with the good bangs, is played by Danielle Benton. Interestingly, a lot of her credits are for dancing. She's a dancer. And so she was one of the dancers in Sucker Punch and a TV show called Hellcats, and actually others she's been a dancer in as well.
Like a
choreographed dancer.
Okay. Be sure.
And then our Dr. Owens, who is our heart doctor, is played by Bruce Dawson. He was also Mark in White Noise, Mr. Clayton in 50 Shades of Grey. He's done his selection of Hallmark and Lifetime Christmas movies as well. He was character Donald on the TV show L Word, and Dr. Lawrence Gordon in the Flash Gordon series.
Oh,
the newer one. Yeah. And then our robber from the convenience store was played by Primo Allen. He's had a lot of Primo. Yeah.
Like my cousin, like Primo?
P-R-I-M. Yeah. P-R-I-M-O.
Nice.
Allen. Yeah. He's had a lot of small roles, single episode stuff. He was, quote unquote, the punker in If I Stay. And then he was Sam in 50 Shades Freed. He's also had appearances in, I named shows that stand out to me: Wayward Pines, Magicians, Fringe, and then most recently he was one of the soldiers in The Last of Us. Because I know a lot of people are really into that right now.
Because it's got Pedro in it. The power of Pedro Pascal. Yeah. He's from San Antonio.
And then our widower. So Jolene's
the ambulance baby driver, the guy the guy in the red jacket.
The guy in the red jacket is Todd Thompson. He is playing Dick Eldridge in Rise of the Pink Ladies, which is the new series coming out.
It's out.
I haven't watched it. Oh.
Hey, you wanted something shitty to watch? You could test that water for me.
He's a surgeon in 50 Shades Freed. A lot of crossover here. And a lot of single episodes, once again, including Magicians, iZombie, and Once Upon a Time. That's my list.
There was a lot. But, I mean, it was also just some big things.
Some good big ones in there, yeah.
So what was it? Some bigger, like I'm trying to do my nails. Some bigger ones. 1, 2, Freddy's. Yeah, I always hated that rhyme, though. That rhyme always freaked me out. Even though I know, like...
Do you want a confession?
Real. What?
I've never seen any of the Freddy movies in their entirety.
Really? Yeah. I haven't seen any of, like, the newer ones. Like, I stopped, I liked, like, the 80s, like, the good, like, old slasher ones, but I stopped watching them after a while.
I have not seen a single one. I'm familiar with them. I get the concept. I saw one of the remember they had the TV show for
Honestly, I'm not that surprised. The list of things you haven't seen is pretty long, and we make fun of you for it all the time.
But I'm a wuss about scary stuff, and I wasn't allowed to watch scary stuff.
See, and that made me that's why we're different, though, because I wasn't allowed to watch scary stuff. So I wanted to sneak and go watch all the scary stuff. Like, even when I wasn't supposed to. And it was like, oh, yeah, there's probably a reason I shouldn't be watching this. And I'm going to be up and scared for a while. But, some of us are rule breakers.
Oh, yeah.
But I still did my damn job, unlike Dean. All right. So let's get back to this episode.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Jen Winchester. Do your goddamn job. See, it just irritates me because you committed, right? Like, I don't care. Like,
he wasn't asked to make a decision. He wasn't asked to have a moral compass about this. He was asked to do a fucking task.
Mm-hmm. Kids die. It sucks. It's sad. It happens. Like, and yeah,
do you think death enjoys it? Like, come on.
Like, yeah, if you have a chance to stop it, but like. I guess, this is also just like going to Dean's character, but I think even Dean, though, would be like, oh, yeah, probably that has to happen because it's death.
Yeah. That's how it works.
And then, like, I think, obviously some things. So, I don't know. So let's deal with the Dean stuff and then we'll deal with the Sam stuff. But yeah, I think some of it I'm just like, yeah, like Tess is a boss bitch. That's pretty much what I get out of the Dean stuff.
Well, and I just like Dean's like, I get that he's obsessed with doing anything to get Sam's soul back, but I feel like he's not actually sitting and processing and talking about ramifications. He is so single-minded that he's not looking at any of the variables at play.
And
you don't make good decisions then.
Like, I feel like that's when the lessons, like, they've been taught, the Winchesters, over the past 6 seasons, like, you should think about the consequences of your actions. Like, I know you're, like, hell-bent on it, but didn't we learn this lesson, I don't know, a few seasons ago? I felt like we learned this a while ago.
He straight up said he'd rather Sam be dead than be like this. And that's fucked a little bit.
It is a little fucked, but then you also,
but is it him? Because now we get to Sam. Because is it him at all? Is it him?
I mean, he's a murderer. Like, I mean, he's okay with murder. At least we know that. Like, we don't know for a fact that he's a murderer beyond, like, the demons.
Attempted?
Yeah. But he's at least, like, and going after, like, his daddy figure.
Yeah.
That's like your cousin on meth. Like, you just don't let them stay at your house. It's time for Sam to, like, go get his own trailer.
Yeah. No,
but, I mean, I wouldn't kill him, though. I would just, like, kind of forget that I had a Sam.
Right. But I don't think Dean can do that.
Maybe just drop him off on the side of the road like he's a puppy.
But I think Dean can do that. But this finally highlights to us how fucked the soulless Sam is.
Yeah, this is pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
That's a pretty bad thing that he did.
It is. Definitely.
But Balthazar was kind of hot while he did it. So, I mean, I got to see Balthazar because he's all like, he's very like a Shakespearean actor and like his little velvet. And then it's just like, just popping in. Just like, ooh, I will give you a riddle about your father and blood. And he's like a vampire.
Yeah, a little bit.
But better than vampire in this show.
Not a supernatural
vampire. He doesn't have sharp teeth, so yeah.
Like a hot vampire.
He's not a hot vampire. He's not a twi vamp. He's not. But I mean, overall, we know obviously bummer land. We are in Bummerville.
Fucking, we got this depressing ass thing where Dean's having to kill people because he's death and he's got to keep up the natural order. And he's trying to buck it, which I get the desire to buck it. I'm not arguing with the desire to buck it at all. I get it. That's
How
fucking
many times
sucks.
are you gonna say bucket?
Bucket. One more time. But then you've got Sam, who's now revealed to us all that that basically not having a soul means he's a sociopath.
Yeah, I mean, he has no moral compass. Is really, he has like there is. If he was in a court of law, he would not be able to be tried. Actually, right? He could be found guilty of criminal insanity because he does not understand the consequences of his actions.
No, but he does understand the consequences. He just is worth the risk to him because he's so logical about it. He went full Spock. And that's not the same thing to me. I don't think they would be able to say that he didn't understand because he totally understands. He's not in denial about what he's trying to do.
But he doesn't understand that it's wrong because he thinks the other thing is the greater good. I don't know.
No, he knows cognitively that it's wrong. He just doesn't emotionally
because he's
impact
like, I
him.
like you, Bob. You've been good to me, Bobby. I wish I didn't have to do this.
But he doesn't have any. It's not that. It's a straight up like he knows that he shouldn't.
This is why Diane and I should never be in a jury room together.
Ugh.
Like, oh my God, I swear to God.
I want to be on a jury so bad. They will never pick me.
They will never pick you. Never. Unless like someone's trying to like thinking like they can like pull you in for a certain side. Like you may get put into like, oh, she'll fuck that side or she'd be really good for ours. And then you'll be like, oh my God, she neutral. But like, but you and I like together in a room, we'd kill each other.
We would. I don't know. I think he fully understands what he's doing. I think he absolutely knows it's wrong, but it's a calculated risk to him to do it anyways for the means, for the ends justify the means kind of thing.
But okay. But then we get the jellyfish soul, like it's put back into him. Right. And we don't know what's going to happen, but he's putting it like, and there's a weird itchy
magic
wall.
Itchy wall.
An itchy wall. Like, why is the wall itchy? Like, couldn't you like put some cortisone on it?
Huh? Your
Well,
brain's
it's like
gonna,
your me
brain,
trying
or
not to
is your
scratch
brain
my
gonna
hair.
itch, or your head gonna, or your heart gonna itch, or like in your chest? Is it a physical itch, or is it just like
Especially if
itchy
there's an itch
inside?
inside your brain that you can't get at. Fuck you. I would rather be dead. I would agree, Sam. Like, don't put that in my head. Thank you. No. So
That will drive a motherfucker insane.
yeah, which is like, what's worse? Is it Sam being driven crazy by an itch that he can't scratch, or is it I don't know, which is worse? So we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, but I just feel like this idea of the soul they're establishing a mythology. And I will say that they are establishing a mythology, and a lot of things that come out of this episode we'll see in later years is supernatural. This is something that is getting, which is why I think the showrunners were here and given credit for it. It's something that, like, okay, like, this is a thing, and obviously
is
like
establishing canon.
Yeah, well, obviously, then Death says it's about the souls. Like, obviously, clearly, we know this is something we have to think about, but I don't think it's very defined. I'm confused, right? Because, like, there's, like, Sam without a soul thinks there's, like, a totally different person, right? So now,
So what happened? So
what happened to
weird.
Soul with Sam? Where'd he go?
Yeah, that's a weird. I don't like that.
Did you just kill him?
I don't like it.
Kill my hot dude? That's not fair. I mean, he may be emotionally available, but he's still a person. Anyhow. All right, anything else?
No.
All right. Cheers, Dirk.
Cheers, bitch.
Devil's Trap Podcast is a Don't Get It production. Meow.
Devil's Trap Podcast is part of the Ship It Studios Podcast Network. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Devil's Trap Podcast, Twitter at Devil's Trap Pod, or you can email us at devilstrap@devilstrappodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave reviews, and share with all your friends. We're at all your favorite podcast outlets and at devilstrappodcast.com. I'm Babe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.